How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you, Jersey. Appreciate that. Big, Big Mama Joe. I think that's what it says. Got the wrong glasses on. Can't see. But welcome, Tim Taylor. How is it going, my man? Anywho, apologize. There's a whole shit ton of cottonwood trees, like I don't know, like a couple of lots down from me, and it's just bad, and my allergies are like terrible. Welcome, Dennis. Marty, welcome. All right, yeah, so as usual, don't know what I'm going to do with these with these things, but hello, Danny, welcome. Houston, Texas, welcome. Yeah, so as you can tell by and what Danny said, we're going to be doing some Boston riffs. Because I didn't really know what to do, but I thought these would be kind of fun because you cannot listen to a lot of the Boston riffs without just smiling. It's like the happiest happiest riffs ever. Good band. Dealing with the wildfire smell in Pennsylvania. Oh yeah, I'll bet. Yeah, I heard yesterday that they're saying that it's affecting the air here, but I don't know how you'd ever tell. The air here is always really bad. All right, so there is, as usual, a link in the description where you can download the tabs for what we're going to be doing. And yeah, so if you are new, say hi and let me know where you're watching from. Big Mama Joe. Oh, you're in New Hampshire. Okay, I figured it out. You're JoJo. My Joe, as weird as that sounds. All right, cool. Yeah, so so there is a link in the description. You can download the tabs. Give everybody a minute to do that. And Alaska. What's it like up there right now? Philly. Oh, that's where one of the head honchos from Guitar Control, that's where he's from. In Jamaica. Nice. Yeah, so and if y'all could do me a favor, if you like the content, hit that thumbs up button, the like button, whatever it is on YouTube. All that helps with that, algorithm thing. But it also shows Guitar Control I'm doing a good job, and I can keep coming and doing this. Danny, yeah, I'm not. I don't know which riffs they are yet. That could more than a feeling could be one of them. But these are mostly they're just kind of I'm just kind of just showing some riffs. They're kind of the ear candy parts, not really the whole song. But that's something that we could do in the future for sure. Toronto, nice. Hello, Paul. Welcome. And thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Yeah. So let's see here. So, and what we're doing tonight is for those of you regulars, we've already done this before, but I'm gonna be in a sense kind of learning these along with you. These are all things that I have played at one point in time, but it's been a while. I mean, at least like a year, and in my world, a year is a lifetime. I can't remember shit I did yesterday, let alone a year ago. Oh, and then More Than a Feeling is the actual first one, and it's just the intro. Oh, okay. Well, I apologize for that. Let me see if I can. Is the so no, I can't remember who it was. Danny. So you're talking about you've got the that part of it down. You're looking for the I'd have to actually hear it to be able to remember it in my to be able to remember it. But yeah, that's something that we could do. We could do that in the future. Like, would you guys like that? Like, we could go through that whole song, like learn the whole More Than a Feeling song. We could probably do the solo too. It's not from from what I can remember. I don't hear anything in my head that was like anything super complicated. Buffalo Trace. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Um, yeah, Dennis, I had a 12 string, and then in a time of desperation, I had to sell it. I don't know if I'll ever get another one or not. But yeah, so this More Than a Feeling is pretty easy, and I just noticed that the transcription has the chord cut off of the top of it. So I'll just tell you as we go along. So it starts off. It's just a regular old D major chord, and we've got a um, we're not strumming. We're picking each, we're picking the strings separately. So you could actually do this finger style if you wanted to, but it's not hard to play with a pick, and it's a kind of a cool pattern. If you look out, we're gonna play the D string, then we're gonna skip the G string and go to the B string. Then we're gonna come back to the G string. Now we're gonna skip the B string and go to the high E string. So we got so that kind of makes it easier to kind of break it down. And how I like to is I just go down, up, rather than, it's just easier for me to do it that way. So it's pretty easy to count. It's just, it's eighth notes. So you got one and two and. Oh, see, this is where I don't have the chord written up there. One little important thing I forgot to mention. So you're gonna do your regular D chord, but it's D suspended 4. So put your pinky down so it's on the 3rd fret of the high E string. We're gonna go same thing, D, B, G, E, and we're hitting that on the and of 2, but it's tied to the downbeat of 3, so it rings out for a full beat. So you got 1 and 2 and 3, and then on the and of 3, we hit the B string again. Then you take your pinky off, so now you're just at regular D, and you hit the high E string, and then the B, and then the G. So. Okay, so that's the first measure. Then we're going to go to it's you can think of it just as a C add 9, but how I like to do it is I just you keep your 3rd finger here on the 3rd fret of the B string just the whole time. And then you're going to go from D, we're going to go to the C add 9. So the only note we really need to get is just your middle finger. It needs to pick up the 3rd fret of the A string. And if you're playing C add 9, you'd be playing here too, which you could put your fingers there because you're not playing that string anyway. So that might be easier for you if you already have some muscle memory, because that's a pretty common chord change. So you may have already been practicing doing it. And if so, it's totally cool. Just you're not playing the D string anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, we're going to go to that C add 9. We're going to hit the A string, then the G, and then the B. So then Then we're going to go to a G over B. So that's just a fancy way of saying that we're going to move this note on the 3rd fret of the A string to the 2nd fret. So I'll just use my first finger. So, and again, you're going to want to keep this finger here. So what that is, they call it a G over B because you're playing the notes that are in a, in a G major chord, but the bass note is now B. So it'd be written G/B, meaning the G is the chord, and then the B after the slash is the bass note. And you do the same picking: A, G, B, and then you're going to put your 3rd finger up down here like you're doing a G. And you hit the low E string, and then the B string again. You're still keeping that finger there. So that's like, and then the whole thing just repeats. Just like that. So, not terribly too tough to play. If, like I said, you could, you could do it, finger style or whatever, but when you hear it on the recording, they're obviously doing with the pick. But it'd be a good way to practice both techniques or whatever. Okay. All right. So the next one. You thought it was different. What do you mean? 132 in Bush. Different how so? Whoops. Alrighty then. So next we're going to look at is Hitch a Ride. So this is another one that's kind of the same, where you're just arpeggiating, you're just playing the notes from the chords separately. This one is using like the power chord shape, like that you probably already know. So we've got an A5 here. So we're starting off first finger on the 7th fret of the D string, and then 3rd finger on the 9th fret of the G string. And I'm playing the A string open. And we got the same timing as 8th notes. We're going to play just starting on the A string, A, D, G, and then back to D. So when I play it, I just go down, 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 up. And we're just going to take that shape and move it down a whole step. So there's like 1 and 2 and then hold on. So I gotta zoom in a little bit. Man, this is like, the font on this is like really small. Or no, it isn't. That was weird. The screen size on my PDF reader thing was turned way, way down. Let's see. That's what she said. Let's see. I'm trying to think of like how it sounds in my head, but it's 1 and 2 and then on starting on the downbeat of 3, you hit the A string and the D string together, and you slide. And now this is a 16th note, so this is like 3E, and you're sliding down to the 5th fret, E, and then on the open A string, and then it's like the power chord again, but it's something like that, man. I can't quite get that in my head, like how it sounds. But anyway, it's just moving that shape, that power chord shape down. Now, when I'm at it, you've noticed I was using my pinky, and the reason being is because the next chord we're going to keep here on the 7th fret of the G string, but the note on the D string is going to move down a half step. So that part is weird, and like the way that the way I'm counting it on here, it doesn't seem like the timing on that is exactly right. But a lot of times in guitar stuff, you have to take sometimes transcriptions with kind of a grain of salt, because it's all very mathematical, sliced up into these perfect things, and sometimes we do things that are a little outside of the box, so that can give you the general idea, but then you have to kind of feel it the rest of the way. So we're going to go just move that shape down a whole step. Oh, okay. Now I think I got it. Yeah, so we're doing that shape. A, D, G, D, and then A and D together. And we hit that on the downbeat of 3. 1 and 2 and 3, E, and 4, and. So you hit that, you slide down to 5, hit the A string, then the D string, and then the G string with that same chord shape. Then you're going to move your first finger down a half step, so it's on the 4th fret, and you're still on the 7th fret of the G string. Now we're going to do 1 and 2, and so the same picking. And then we're going to just do a regular A major chord. So for that, it's 3 and the open A string, 3, D string here, and then for all of beat 4, a quarter note of the B and the high E, or excuse me, the G and the B string, where you're playing on the 2nd fret, just for a regular A major chord. Yeah, so that is Hitch a Ride. Wow, sort of. That's like the most I've struggled with any of these things. I mean, I've had stuff I've had to try to figure out, but that's the only one that I still don't know if I'm playing it right. Oh, well, awesome, Danny. Yeah, that's awesome. It's, I don't know. I think there's a lot of value in just playing things that are easy but sound really good, give good satisfaction. I think it makes you play with more confidence. I'm just going to call you 1980. I think we already decided that before. Thank you. Appreciate that. Whoops. Okay, so next one is Smokin. This is a really cool riff. And this is one that for some reason it took me forever to be able to get the groove for it. It's really simple too. I have no idea why I had such a weird mental block on this song for a really long time. I could not play this riff worth of crap. Uh, and hopefully I didn't just jinx myself by saying all that. All right. So this one's really simple because all you're going to do is play an A5 chord. So you're just barring the second fret of the D and the G string at the second fret, and then the A string is open. We're not playing the upper strings. So when you play this chord, you don't want to like you're doing a full-on major chord. You want to bend your finger back a little bit so that way the B and the high E string are a little muted. So that way they're not just ringing, especially if you're playing with some overdrive on your amp or whatever. Every little tiny thing like that you're not muting starts vibrating and making all kinds of noise. All right, so we're gonna have just this A, and another thing is you just want to use your first finger to do it because you're going to need your second and third finger here in a minute for the other part of the riff. So the timing on this is weird. This is that. So it's got that kind of a swing to it. So we hit the open A string, and we hit that's on the downbeat of 1. And then we're going to hit where we're barring here on the second fret on the D and the G string. So like the other half of the chord, we're going to hit that. It's a quarter note, but we're hitting it on the and of 1. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and. So it's like ba da da da. Then this is where you need your other finger. So keep your first finger here. Don't move it. Keep it there. And then take your second finger and pick up the third fret of the A string. And then do a hammer on to the fourth fret with your third finger. And then hit the D string, which should already be on the second fret where it is. So you got. Okay, this is where the thing with the count is kind of weird. So we got the boom, da, 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 and then, so that's one measure. The riff is like one measure, but we want to hit that note again. I guess if this was just written as that first measure with the repeat sign at the end of it, that would probably make more sense. So you got the. That's one of the ones I was talking about that you can't play that without smiling. That's like a really cool riff. Now with the picking for it, I have no idea if this is like how, like Boston played it or anybody plays it for that matter. There's been other times with strum that has like a groove like this where I'll end up playing it differently. My technique will be different than like how other people do it. And it's just sometimes because it's not necessarily a good thing. Sometimes I'll like learn how to play something in a way that's just like harder than it needs to be. But this feels like it just kind of rolls along really smooth. So I go down, up, 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 down, up, and then start with that down again. So there could, you could like, and do it with all downstrokes. But if I play it that way, I feel like it's more like really choppy, like, ba 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 ba, ba instead of having that swing to it. But that's just my opinion on it. So that is Smokin. All right. So does anybody have any questions about any of those we've gone over, or just any guitar related stuff? Oh my gosh. There isn't any palm muting as far as like dampening, but to kind of get the let me go back and look at it again. Actually, I was just checking to make sure I couldn't remember if there's any rests in it or anything. There isn't any rests, but but that is part of the technique is when the chord isn't supposed to ring. If I'm when I go to that part of it. Yeah, it's weird. It's almost a thing. It's like subconscious. Honestly, I didn't realize I was even doing that. Um, so that being said, if that's kind of more like how they're probably playing it, when you have other instruments and percussion and stuff to kind of I don't know the word I'm looking for to give it that rhythm. I'm kind of adding that in, and that's kind of a bad habit of mine. I've had some weird experiences from doing stuff like that. I don't know why I do it, other than it's just because I really like that kind of playing. I love that kind of stuff. So it's like I'm subconsciously trying to add that into other things. Oh, thank you, Danny. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think putting palm muting in, if you're adding it in like you're playing like a cover song and you're adding it into places where they didn't do it, that's not always necessarily like a bad thing. I mean, I do it all the time. Sometimes out of necessity, like maybe I have to do it because that's the only way I can do it for whatever reason. But I think that's one of those things that you just kind of start doing over time, and it becomes kind of part of your sound, just like vibrato or how you bend, or even just like your legato playing, like how it sounds when because everybody's legato playing has like kind of a different flavor to it. So I think palm muting, like throwing in stuff like that, as you evolve, that's just something that naturally happens, I think. 70s rockers had the best tone. Yeah, a lot of them had. I don't know if what the best tone is, but yeah, there's probably more from then that I like to play now than later. I used to really just only play 80s tones, but I don't really use a lot of that anymore as a general rule. Just I don't know. I guess I got burned out on it. As ZZ Top, there's another one, that's that same kind of like it's that same kind of thing getting that in there. But when you're listening to the song, there's the like the rim shot thing. Uh, so I think I end up adding in a little bit more than what, you know, originally is there or whatever. Okay, let me see. Oh, I'll tell you to do it. Oh, rock and roll band. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I really like this one. This one I know I have played because this is one that I play just when I'm noodling around. I'll end up playing it because I just think it's a really cool riff. So this one here is going to revolve around an E5 and an A5. So as far as no difficult chords or anything. So we're going to start off with the E5. So I'm just fretting the second fret of the A string. Low E string is open. And we're going to hit this on the downbeat of 1. And then on the and of 1, we're just going to hit the low E string again. So 1 and. Then on the downbeat of 2, we're going to pick up the 3rd fret of the low E string, 2, and then on the and of 2 to the 4th fret. So 1 and 2 and. Okay, and then starting on the downbeat of 3, we pick the D string. Now, so this is something I should have said at the beginning of it. When you're playing the E5, it's actually good if you can pick up the A and the D string, even though you're not playing that D string on the first part. If you did, it don't matter. It's just another E. But that way, you don't have to do anything with this hand other than move these 2 fingers. So you get the 1 and 2 and 3. So that's second fret of the D string that I'm picking up by barring. Then on the and of 3, we come back to the 3rd fret of the low E again, and back to the 4th fret for 4, and then the and of 4, we're gonna switch to an A5. So before we do that, let's just work on that. So we got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So another one that you want to kind of try to put that little bit of a swing on there. Okay, then we're going to switch to an A5. So all you're going to do is take your first finger and just scoot it up a string. So now the A string is open, but you're picking up the 2nd fret of. In this case, you'll only have to get the D string, but it's a good idea just to slide up. Hello, Crit. Yeah, I was going to send you a text after this was over to see how you're doing. Oh yeah, so we scoot up. Sorry, we scoot up to the A5, and we hit that on the and of 4, and then it's tied to the downbeat of 1 of the 2nd measure. So it's and 1, and then on the and of 1, we're going to play the A string open, and then we're going to go to the 3rd fret. So we're going to kind of do what we did on the E string, but now on the A string. So we're going to go open, 3, 4, open. So then we're going to go back to the 3rd fret of the low E, 3 to the 4th fret, and then E5. So you have to scoot your finger back, and then it just repeats. So you've got that last part. And okay, so I don't know if you noticed what I was playing it really crappily. I'm sure you noticed that. But then it got better there at the end. If you notice, my pick stroke got lighter because I was trying to play it very really, really kind of tight. And on this is a case where you kind of, I mean, you don't want it to be this big, huge, crazy, sloppy, strum or pick stroke, but kind of having that little bit more of, your body movement in there can really help with getting that groove. I mean, it's like dancing kind of. Okay, so there's a part that isn't actually on here that I want to show you. It's kind of cool. He does that riff, just it's just at the end of it, he plays I think it starts on the fifth fret of the A string. So it's like I do if we counted it as eighth notes, it would be like one. I don't know if we're starting on one or whatever. We'll figure that out in a minute. But it's like we're going to go one, and then on the end, release pressure and do an upstroke. So you just get that percussive sound, and then just move that up chromatically, like that. I don't know, I think that's kind of a cool part of the riff, and the drums go along with it with the chokes. Chig, chig, chig. I think it's really cool. All right. So, anybody have any questions about that one or anything? All right, let me move along. The next one, Peace of Mind. Peace of... Oh, a USA Strat? Awesome. Okay, I remember this one now. Okay, so this one, the rhythm on it's really cool, the strumming. It's like one of those riffs that really makes like a good an exercise, like we did some like that. That's like a really good exercise. I think I did a live stream with riffs that are good exercises, or at least it was an idea to do one, and I haven't done it yet. I don't know, can't remember. Yeah, but this one, that rhythm, and then if you're more of a beginner, it's all bar chords, so that does make it kind of a little bit more challenging. But luckily, just two shapes, and they're very, very similar. So even if you haven't done bar chords before, this could kind of help you to get started. So we start off, we've got a C sharp minor. So I'm rooting it on the A string. So I'm going to bar here at the fourth fret. And then middle finger here on the fifth fret of the B string. And then the sixth fret of the D string with my third finger, and the sixth fret of the G string with my fourth finger. So we only have two shapes. We have this one, and then we have a major shape rooted on the low E string. So one way they can kind of help you with this, like I said, especially if you're new, and even if you're not, if you've had experience with bar chords, this is good information to have. Maybe you already know it. I don't know. But if you look at that shape and you disregard what you're doing with your first finger, if you just look at this shape, it's the same shape that you would do for an A minor chord, except you'd be using these fingers, obviously. But so your first finger is acting like a capo, so that's a minor shape. So if we moved like an A chord, it'd be a major shape. So the same thing is for the low E string. If we take our like E major, but if we play it with these fingers instead, and then we move it up here, and now we have the bar all the way across like a capo. So now that's a major shape because it looks like an E major. If we wanted to make it minor, you could just take your middle finger off, and now it's minor. Okay, so that's, major and minor, basic major and minor bar chords in a nutshell, like the Reader's Digest version. So for this riff, we start off with that C sharp minor. And the reason it's C sharp is because the fourth fret on the A string is a C sharp, and this is the minor shape, so C sharp. So we've got this, we hit this as a quarter note, so it gets all of beat number 1. So it's like 1, and then on the downbeat of 2, you just release the pressure, but I just keep my fingers there, and you just give a quick strum to get that just percussive sound. So you got 1, 2, and then on the end of 2, we're going to do an A major. So we just move this shape up 1 fret and then move every finger down 1 string. Just like you can do from A minor to E major. So we hit this on the end of 2, but it's a quarter note. So it gets the end of 2 plus the downbeat of 3. Then we hit it again on the end of 3. Then we're going to release our pressure, and we're going to do that mute again. But this time there's 16th notes, so it's going to be 4 E and So just down, up, down, up. That's the first measure. I love that, those muted strums. I think they sound really cool. So that's the first measure. Now, starting on the second measure, we've got an E major chord. So when I said earlier that it was just the 2 shapes, I'm a big fat liar, because actually we're going to do E major, the E major bar chord rooted on the A string. So we're going to do the B minor we did, but again, this looks like an A minor. So the difference between A major and A minor is this note moves from here down to here. It's our third, we flatten it, right? So the same thing with this. So you can play it like this, but I really just prefer to do it this way. So I'm barring the D, G, and B string, and I'm just picking up the note on the A string. You don't have to be able to flatten all the way out. And then I just let the first string be muted. Otherwise, you have to, it's really difficult to do that. And unless it's a song where, for whatever reason, that high note really needs to be there, I just don't do it. So it's E major. So the 7th fret here on the A string is an E. So it's E major. So we have the same thing. We've got 1, and then it's a quarter note. And then on the downbeat of 2, we hit it again. And then on the end of 2, we're going to go to a B major. So we're just going to stay on the same fret, move it down, and then do the major shape that looks like the E major that we did earlier. So this here, we've got 1, 2, and 3, E, and 4, on the end of 4, it's a mute, and then it starts over again. So. Whoops. Oh my God, why do I keep trying to... See, that's what I was talking about earlier. I try to like add in extra stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. And then it starts over. Oh my God. So it's hard. This is one of those riffs that, and I find that with a lot of these kind of the funkier, they're harder to play at a slower tempo because it's almost like a, you know, this groove you got to get into. At least that's how my experience for myself. That's how they're easier to play a little bit quicker than they are slow. I mean, lots of things are that way, but this stuff really for me is bad. So if I'm doing like, you know, say, if I do it slow, I don't get that mute strum there at the end of that. Yeah. So that is peace of mind. At least like they look like they sort of got like more difficult as it went along this time. Don't look back. Oh, another muty one. They have a lot of stuff with this kind of a vibe to it. Oh, thank you, Danny. Appreciate it. So it's going to have some more mute strums. Sorry, the old man's got to blow it up even bigger. God. Yeah, that's kind of a tricky rhythm. 55. Yeah, you got a couple of years on me, but I'm a late model, but I got some pretty high mileage. There wasn't a lot of, you know, there was not a lot of the recommended maintenance followed whatsoever. $64. Holy crap, Jersey. Okay. So for this riff for Don't Look Back, we're going to do the A major chord that we were just doing, but we're going to do it a whole octave higher. So we're clear up here on the 15th, or excuse me, the 14th fret. So the A string is open, and I'm just barring 14, 14, 14, the D, G, and B string. Oh, consider yourself lucky, Danny. I've been wearing prescription glasses for, well, I wore them in like the first and second grade because I had a lazy eye, and then I stopped. I didn't have to wear them anymore, and then I don't know, when I turned 40, everything went to hell in a handbasket, and I've had to keep getting. If they make my glasses any thicker, it'll be too dangerous to be in UV light because my head will just catch on fire. Sons of Arthritis. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Big Joe, the glasses, they're a necessity anymore. And I have to have, different pairs depending upon how close the object I'm looking at is. Okay, so we're gonna do this up here. So it's still an A, and we're gonna strum this on the downbeat of 1, but we're gonna do a hammer on to the 15th fret with your second finger on the B string. So we hit it, and I'm not even going to attempt to try to count this. It's weird. We've got, well, I guess we've got a 16th note, so it's 1E and 2 and 3 and. It's weird. Enjoy the 40s. Oh, 46 youngster, yeah. I don't know, the 40s kind of weren't all that. Well, no, that's not true. My 40s was actually a really weird time in my life. I'll have to talk about that one of these times. It was kind of for music. It was really strange. So anyhow, we're going to play this 1E, but you don't want to. It's really hard if you're going to count it like that. You strum it as the A and do the hammer on, and then you're going to strum it 2 more times, and then take your middle finger back off, and then you're going to strum it 2 more times. And I just do it as down, up, down, up. Your downward spiral. Yeah, I got a handicap tag too, and I've thought about doing something like that to it, but down at the very bottom it has a thing about defacing it or whatever to get into trouble. But that should be a thing. It should be a thing that if you're a guitar player, especially of one of a certain age, that you get some sort of parking perks. All right, so we got the whoops. And then we're going to do that same mute that we did earlier. It's actually the same timing, other than the overall tempo of this song is faster, I think. But I don't know. My memory, anytime I go to play a song like along with the original recording, it's always way faster than I think it is, than I remember it being. So it's like. Then we're going to go to take this shape. We're just going to move it down. So the A string is still open, but we're going to bar the 7th fret of the D, G, and B string. And we're going to hit that is 1. And then on the downbeat of 2, we're going to do a mute strum. And we're going to move it up a whole step to 9. And we hit it again. So this is on the and of 2, but it's a quarter note. So it takes care of the and of 2 plus the downbeat of 3. And then we're going to strum it again and do that same hammer on, but this time it'll be to the 10th fret. And then back to 9. And then it starts over again. So you got it. Whoops. Like that. So it's a really cool one for working with that kind of strapping. Like I said, I'm a sucker for that stuff. I think it sounds really good. So yeah, that is looks like just the right amount of riffs for a Wednesday night. So, does anybody have any questions about those or any other, guitar music related questions? Oh. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Thank you, Jersey. All right. Well, if nobody has any questions or anything, then we can call it a night. But I really appreciate everyone being here. It seems like apparently Boston's a good subject. But yeah, and if you just joined, there is a link in the description where you can download these tabs, and you can watch the rerun to be able to get the riffs or whatever. But I appreciate every one of you that comes out. If you like what I'm doing, hit that thumbs up button. All that stuff helps them know that I'm doing a good job and that I can continue to do this for you every Wednesday. But yeah, I love Sultans of Swing. Do it next time. You recognize that just from that little crappy part that I was playing. It is so hard. I'm actually in the process of doing it. It'll be a regular YouTube video on this channel for that from Sultans of Swing. It's Knopfler is like really hard to play. Some of the stuff you can play it, with just a guitar pick, and it's still, you can play the rhythms and things. If you can play them that way, but if you do them with can't remember how to play it, but that little thing there is so freaking hard because it's like an arpeggio type lick. So it's 12, 9, and then 9, 9. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's really no way to get like a good picking, cadence with it or whatever. So the way he does it is like thumb, middle, thumb, middle, let's see. Yeah, third, middle finger, thumb, first, thumb. But it's like really fast. I don't know. It's super, super hard, but I'm trying to work it out to do a lesson on that. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming out. Really appreciate it. I'll see y'all next Wednesday. Same bad time, same bad channel, all that stuff. Have a good night, everybody. Good week, all that stuff. Laters.